Hello YouTube, this is Thomas Judge back once again. It's been a little while. Hopefully more videos going to be coming quite soon. But today we're looking at a custom comic, and in particular we are looking at a custom bind. This is a custom bind of a 90s Image comic. I say that because it was published by Image and then it was moved on to something else halfway through the run, called PITT. If you Google it, you'll get many pictures of Brad Pitt. So don't Google Brad Pitt. Google Image Comics PITT by Dale Keown, and you'll learn more about this. First things first, let's have a look at the size. Just to compare this to an oversized hardcover, this is the Superman Rebirth hardcover, something I'm currently reading at the moment. And as you can see, that is larger. This is a standard trade paperback size, and I've made it into a hardcover. Put that away. Let's have a quick look at this custom bind. We have got some silver blocking here. This is the PITT logo, which we will see on some of the issues inside. Plain spine, plain back. This is a bit of dirt. And then inside we've gone for something very simple, just plain black end leaves. And as you can see here, this is some plastic from the binder. It comes with a ribbon, and there'll be another plastic sheet at the front. This is literally the very first time I've opened and looked through this. So what we have here is a ribbon bookmark, always quite classy. And then inside we have, well, let's have a quick flick through. We have very smooth, very nicely bounded trade paperbacks and single issues. So these are all bound from physical pre-existing comics. This isn't one of the ones where I cut them, scan them, edit them, resize them, reprint them. This is literally from an existing set of comics and single issues that I've had for a very long time. And I really wanted a hardcover of this. It looks like it's never going to ever get made. And therefore I decided to do this myself. So as you can see here, we start off with PITT issue a half. This is from the trade paperback, and you can see the logo there. I'm just going to flick through to give you an idea what this is, but this isn't really an overview of the comic per se. This is just showing you another custom bind that I've done. So what is PITT? It was created by Dale Keown, as we can see here, who is the writer and the artist as well. You may know him from some various Hulk issues that he's done, where he's really good at drawing massive, overly muscular kind of characters. And PITT was a creator-owned, unique thing he made himself. This custom bind is from the first two trade paperbacks. So this is the first trade paperback. As we can see, very 90s, lots of chains, long hair, huge muscles, and so on. But I actually really enjoy this. The same era as Spawn and things like that. But what I will say is that this develops a level of maturity much quicker than Spawn did, which is fair. There's only 20 odd issues of PITT. But really rapidly, PITT is characterized in this kind of noble samurai without a master kind of way. Just the dialogue, his attitude, his approach. I know this sounds ridiculous given sort of the bombast that we're seeing here looking at a 90s comic, but genuinely, it's actually a really interesting character study of the character of PITT. You're going to have to take my word for it. Yes, he's massive. Yes, he's got claws. Yes, he's got fangs. Yes, he's got superpowers. But he's actually a really interesting, muted kind of character. I believe this is the end of the first trade paperback there. And then I put in the second trade paperback here. And this then just continues on. I mean, look at this imagery. It's just really well done. He's a very brooding, angsty character. And yes, there's a lot of violence. There's a lot of contrived action like this. But actually, it'll start to come together surprisingly well by the end of the arc. So as we see here, classic Dale Keown kind of artwork, massive claws, massive teeth, massive fangs, huge characters fighting various people. I do believe that the PITT had some crossovers with stuff like Youngblood and things like that. So in the very, very early Image days, as you can imagine from this kind of artwork, this kind of composition. But like I say, PITT kind of stood apart. PITT was something different. And there are, even relatively recently, there are issues of PITT crossed over with The Darkness, so Jackie Estacado from the Top Cow universe. And there's even a PITT Hulk crossover where, again, PITT just came across brilliantly. Just his character, his nature. This is not PITT. This is someone else. And that takes us to, I think, the end of the trade paperback, which I think was here. Yep, as we can see. Brilliant. And there's a little bit of bonus artwork I left in situ there. And then we get into the single issues. Now, all these are the single issues that came from PITT. And I'll be honest, they've been binded really, really well. I went through them with my binder and I removed all the pages that I didn't want. So there was some kind of like art pages and letter pages and things like that, adverts, stuff like that, that we removed. Some of them I had to keep in. So, well, this one's not a problem, keeping this in. But for example, keeping these in, I was kind of debating getting rid of this, but we needed a letter page because it's the back of this. I was debating getting rid of this, but we needed, well, I wanted that. So it's not quite perfect, but it's one of those risk reward scenarios where I've got to consider, is it worth the effort of, for example, scanning both of these in, scanning in that page and combining them into a single page. And then not only is it about the effort of doing that, it's also about the complexity of explaining that to a binder, someone who's not necessarily into comics, making sure they get it right. Anyway, I just decided to bind all the single issues. There's all these single issues, exceptional artwork. The paper quality changes slightly from the trade paperbacks. It's slightly rougher, slightly more matte. But as you can see, it's got great color saturation. It works really well. And again, I kept in some of these extras because it is just fun to have them in. It feels really tangible and really physical in a way that I don't normally revel in when it comes to my comics. But I have to say, I really, really enjoyed this. I've loved the single issue series for ages. I've read them loads of times. That was a one-shot called PITT in the Blood, which was here. And then we go on to PITT issue 12. And yeah, as you can see, it's nice, tight binding, but not too tight. It's laying nice and flat here on the page. Sorry, there's a little bit of glare. Yeah, highly, highly recommended. If you haven't read PITT, it's well worth digging out, well worth tracking it down. Hopefully PITT's going to have a bit of a renaissance at some stage, but who knows? I think it's kind of a static property at this point, although it has got quite a cult fan following. Look at this imagery. Now, this is where it picks up. Not that it wasn't great before, it was great before, but this is now where it kind of develops this much broader PITT universe and just the sort of the narrative and the conversations. So basically, for example, PITT has various visions of what's happening in the future, of wider things in the universe, and now subsequent issues are kind of seeing these images and seeing these prophecies come to fruition. It's done really well. You can see here, they've changed the logo here so it combines the American flag. Essentially, PITT versus the American military, and actually there's a really interesting kind of dive into the American military complex with analogues of people like, not her, but people like Captain America and things like that. It's a really interesting and increasingly well-written story. So this is the character I was talking about. It also does something which I think Spawn was doing at the time, which is that it starts to kind of satirize American culture and American media and things like that. This Ugly Americans arc is exceptional, really, really interesting. Yeah, and it has stuff like this. So, for example, in Greenville, South Carolina, someone was arrested for driving blindfolded. Kind of like a satire of modern social media or cult celebrity. And this came out in the 90s. And it seems incongruous, but at the same time, it's kind of like depicting this sociological decline and collapse, which was very much at the forefront of everyone's mind in the late 90s and early noughties. God knows what people like that would think about the world nowadays. And yeah, it's just a great story. I continue with the single issues here, as you can see. And this takes us to the very last single issue. The series eventually got cancelled, I think. The publisher, Full Bleed, which was owned by Keown when he kind of went lawless from Image, I think they actually went under, PITT being their flagship title, which is a massive, massive shame. And yeah, I think it ends there. It ends on this really enigmatic kind of, I don't know, it's a lot like kind of a DC Mega event where it has the quintessence. You end up seeing like the PITT universe version of the quintessence. It's just really interesting. Anyway, what I then got here are 5 issues of something called PITT Crew, which was a spin-off series. Imagine something like Tales of the Spawn or Tales from the Sandman universe, all the various kind of spin-offs that other series sometimes have. So this was PITT Crew, which was spin-offs from within the PITT universe. A lot of stuff about PITT's history. Really interesting stuff. I really, really enjoyed these as well. And yeah, I put in these 5 issues as well. I'm really happy with how slick this looks. I mean, look at this. Look at this. As a custom bind, cannot go wrong. Look at that. I'm not going to get a custom dust jacket made for it. I want to keep it raw like this on the shelf. It gives it a slightly classier look, a slightly kind of retro aesthetic as well. And it'll look nice just on the shelf with other stuff from that era, like my custom Witchblade hardcover, which similarly, all I did was put in some gold blocking of the Witchblade logo and leave on the shelf, and it looks great to this day. So this is PITT. That's my custom bind. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Um, I've been working quite a lot on custom projects, but I'll be honest, most of them aren't custom brand new omnibuses, so custom omnibuses or things like that. There's this, which is combining a set of single issues and making a custom like this, which actually, I'll be honest, took a lot longer than I would have planned, but I've had a lot of health issues over the last 6 months again, unfortunately. But the other thing I've been working on a lot is essentially a lot of custom edits. And I'll be frank, what I've been working on editing and improving is my DC Rebirth oversized hardcovers and omnibuses, because there are many, many issues with these. And I'm going to have a YouTube series or like a sub series talking about these and all the things that have gone wrong and all the things that need to be fixed by the dedicated collector. Anyway, I hope that was okay. As always, please like, comment, subscribe. As always, please support the channel. More videos will be coming. I know it's been a break for a little while, but more videos will be coming soon. We'll be doing some reading orders. There might even be a couple of small video game related things, which feel free to skip. And then there's going to be a lot of stuff on DC Rebirth in the future, launching relatively soon. So thank you for watching.
All right, thanks for watching, everybody. As always, please like, comment, subscribe. As always, please follow me on Twitter at I am Thomas Judge, where I will post a daily review of whatever comics I've been reading. You can get an idea of what I'm up to on the channel. And as always, please support the channel by heading over to Amazon.com and checking out my prose novel about superheroes. It's a completely original piece of work. The first episode in it is called Arrivals, and the series as a whole is called No Gods or Kings. You can find an excerpt of that on my website, nogodsorkings.com. Until next time, everybody, stay classy.